I'm in trouble. Never gonna get that tip. Jeez.
That the opposite of the almond joy, the almond trouble.
Yes, there we go.
Look at the bottom.
No, I made it. I made it. Hello and welcome to Retro Game Connect. I'm Dan Mastriani.
And I'm Ian Butterfield.
And Happy New Year! Yes, it is New Year's Eve. And yeah, what do people like to do on New Year's Eve? They like to go out and get some drinks. So we thought it would be a good time to play Root Beer Tapper via Midway Arcade Treasures on GameCube.
I got a mug. It's an X-Wing mug, but it's a mug.
There we go, yes. So this is a family-friendly version of Tapper, which was an Anheuser-Busch licensed game in which you serve Budweisers to people.
Phenomenal.
Yes. So, they needed
Companies
a version.
just don't advertise like they used to.
Yeah, they needed a version they could put in locations that would be frequented by children. So they came up with the Root Beer Tapper version. And of course, since that version is also not licensed, that's the one that gets re-released.
Yeah, a whole lot less paperwork to deal with, I would imagine.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to play now. Woo! So I'm pretty sure I played an earlier version of this game at some point, like maybe the Apple II version or something. But I do not claim to be good at it. Hopefully this will go okay. But hey, we'll go ahead and watch the how to play thing so people will know what's going on. So this was published by Bally Midway, but they didn't actually have their own development at this point in time. They would actually license games from other developers and publish them since they had the manufacturing apparatus, from their pinball business.
Oh, that's actually kind of a smart business decision.
Yeah, I think they actually put out a lot of Japanese games too. But this game was actually developed by is it Martin Glass and Associates? Do you have my notes up?
Oh,
I guess I'll go ahead and start playing here. So those were they were a
what was the question again?
A toy designer. Is it Martin Glass and Associates?
For what? Oh yeah, developers. Marvin Glass and Associates.
Marvin. Okay.
Like The Martian.
Yes. Good. So I was getting it slightly
Where's
wrong.
the kaboom?
Oh,
There's
no.
supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom.
Didn't mean to do that. I accidentally sent too many glasses. It's a little touchy. Ooh. All right, this guy is going to send the glass back. Ooh, they sent me a tip. Yeah. Not only does that get me bonus points, it actually slows down the line there, so I got more time to.
Imagine if this is how wheel bars.
Right.
Yeet.
Fortunately, I turned up my light. Ooh. Didn't mean to do that. Alright. These guys are sending their glasses back. I would like that tip, but I gotta grab these glasses. I'm in trouble. Never gonna get that tip. Jeez.
That the opposite of the almond joy, the almond trouble.
Yes, there we go. That's
Look at the bottom.
No, I made it. Ooh, this bar is tough because it's short. Oh, I keep missing the ones at the top bar, and then they go by so fast that before I've even looked up there, it's fallen off the bar. Let's see if I can clear this here. So is she not because I got her tip? She's not looking for a drink. Is that what's going on?
I don't know how the general public is to begin with. So video game general public.
Good. Come on. Just 2 people left. Nope. Cool. All right. So that's how it works. So apparently it's only stopping the person that left me the tip. Oh, what?
I'm pretty sure if somebody's not facing the bar, you can't serve them.
Yeah.
That's happened to you a couple times now.
I think that's what happened.
Whoa!
Grab the tip for the bonus points. Oh no! Wasn't paying attention. I saw that after I'd already sent it down the bar is the problem.
Wah, wah, wah.
But interesting thing, of course, is that they, when they were designing the game, they kind of, they started with this Wild West.
Wild West. Uh-oh.
Didn't mean to do that. Accidentally double tapped the button there. So they had the idea of like what's fun in the movies is how they slide drinks down the bar.
Yeah.
So
even though like that just wouldn't work at all.
There we go. So they thought, hey, let's do that in the game. That will be fun.
Also, I feel like the dancers up there are not helpful because they obscure what you can see for the bars.
Yeah, that was bad. I would like to at least see one of the second stage. There are multiple stages here. If I can finish the saloon. Then I can get a different looking stage. But I was saying the yay. Oh, nice. Okay. Shake that one, shake that one, shake that one, shake that one. So the one that isn't shook is that one. Oh boy. Oh.
Apparently they based the bartender off of one of their coworkers.
I think it was this one. Got it. Yes. Yeah, so in the original version he's obviously a bartender. For this version they changed him to look like a soda jerk.
The graphics for this were done in 2 weeks.
Yes. Not the whole game.
Well, for the reskin.
Yeah, the reskin was done in like 2 weeks. Oh boy, it's getting more hectic now. Oh no! I went too far. Alright, might as well do that one because I'm there. Come on. Get these sports fans here. They're all thirsty for a root beer. Not any sort of alcoholic beverage.
Indeed.
Oh, this is probably dumb, but no, there we go. Oh, come on.
Doop, doop, doop.
Oh, I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I didn't go up to get it. Oh, boy. Do I want to try again, or are we...
I mean, I get the sense that this is the entire gameplay loop.
It's pretty much the entire gameplay loop. I definitely did much better than my practice run, but oof.
Hey, I don't know if we need a whole 20 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a fun little slice of gaming history, but
yeah, unfortunately, if we were able to do this in person, I could be like, "Hey, you try," and that would be a different angle. But Unfortunately, there's no way to skip ahead to the levels because that's what would be really nice to show some of the other levels. But
And it's not like you can beat the whole game in 40 minutes,
no.
like how we
But
did
there
with
we go.
Kirby.
It's a simple arcade game. We've seen the loop, so yeah, I guess it's okay for this to be a short episode. So there you go. Not our longest episode, but we saw the basic gameplay loop. I mean, there are different stages, but unfortunately, I'm not like a root beer tapper expert that can blow through those to see the later stages. I mean, they do have
Yeah.
some functional differences. It's not 100% cosmetic, but it's basically the same thing. You know, it's an early arcade game, early 80s, so not super complex, but it's decent looking. I of course was playing it with a tiny GameCube D-pad instead of instead of an arcade joystick, so might not have been as smooth as it would have on the original cabinet. Original cabinet was fun. So like the original licensed beer version was actually done up to kind of look like a bar. Like you had, to tap, you actually had like a tap with like the Budweiser logo on it that you push down when you wanted to tap a beer, and it actually had like a brass railing down around the bottom, like you have on the bars a lot of the time.
Oh, that's fun.
So yeah, it was a neat looking cabinet. And when they came out with the all ages root beer tapper version, they redesigned it to kind of look like a like like an ice cream shop where you would often be able to get soda on tap.
Oh, sort of like
Back when that was still a thing you could do.
Sort of like you when you see the pharmacy and It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
The old soda fountain at the pharmacy.
Exactly. That used to be common. And now it's like maybe you'll find, in some area there'll be one thing like, hey, we got an old time style pharmacy with a soda tap, and it's an attraction because nobody does it anymore.
The closest thing I can think of in Connecticut is just a diner that is still kind of old school in that it's Shady Glen over in Manchester. Where like it's still like everybody is wearing like 60s diner clothes, like all the staff wears them. And then their soda, it doesn't premix. They have to pump the syrup out and then mix in the seltzer water.
Yes, and that's what everyone was doing back in the day.
And they make their own ice cream.
Yeah, this is kind of calling back to that experience, which was not quite dead at the time.
I mean, I have a soda stream, so I do that sometimes.
But yeah, this is basically how you used to go to the local pharmacy and they would have a soda jerk and the guy would mix the soda and you could get like a root beer float. They put some nice homemade ice cream in it. And
I do love a root beer float.
Yeah, so this is calling back to that. I mean, I don't know how common. I would have been 3 when this game came out, possibly 2 depending on what time of year it was. So I don't know if soda jerks were still common in 1983, which I'm pretty sure this is. Let me double check my notes. I think that's when this came out. So the original one was 83, and root beer tapper was 84. But I was a bit too young to know how common that was at the time. But of course, people making the game, even though they would, been like maybe early 20s, they were probably born early enough to remember going.
I mean, if they were all in their 20s, say mid 20s, early 30s in the 80s.
I think that probably early 20s when they made the game. But,
that would mean that they were born in the 60s.
Yeah. So, they probably were still able to do that growing up. Yeah, apparently they were actually the sons of a couple of the executives at Marvin Glass who were like, well, we want to get into video games, but we don't know anything about computers. It sounds like something my son could do. Yeah, they got their jobs through nepotism, but fortunately they did a good job.
Yeah.
At least one of them actually stayed in the video game industry. With I gotta double check his first name. I think it's Steve, but let me double check it here. Let's see. No, Scott Morrison. The other guy was Steve Meyer. But Scott Morrison actually went on to work at I'm gonna get the Incredible Technologies, who people may probably know for the Golden Tee Golf Series.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yes, that is incredibly long-running arcade golf series, and he went on to work there.
Actually, I think I've probably played it.
If you've been to an arcade, you've probably played Golden Tee Golf.
Yeah.
Let's be
Or
real.
if you've been to like an Uno's
Yeah,
in the mid 2000s, because I'm pretty sure that's where I played it.
Yeah. But this is Marvin Glass. They were pretty storied toy design company. So, basically they create the designs and license them out to manufacturers. They work with guys like Milton Bradley and various other well-known toy manufacturers. So
Hasbro, perhaps.
possibly, I don't have it written down. I just don't remember off the top of my head. But I could probably see on one of the links that I have in the notes. But the important thing is, like, they did some pretty famous stuff. You know those like chattering teeth things? That was like a Marvin Glass invention. That was the first thing, like when the first toys he sold was the chattering teeth, like the yakety yak teeth.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the
No,
60s.
I've always thought those were weird.
But these is something that become like so kind of ingrained. You don't even think of them being invented, but.
Well, yeah, but like for me, like that toy specifically, that's just a gag on Looney Tunes.
Yeah, but I guess they were like a popular new toy at the time.
Somebody replaced someone's dentures with the chattering teeth.
Well, I don't know if he necessarily invented chattering teeth or if he came up with like a popular variation of them. So let me be clear there, because I don't know that for sure. But that's one of his early successes, is chattering teeth. But the company was responsible for creating Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Oh.
They also did board games. They did Mousetrap, which I remember being advertised all the time when I was a kid.
I do remember that being advertised a lot. I actually owned it.
It's still around. I think one of my cousins had it, so it was always a pain to get it to work properly, to set it up all.
Is the most annoying, ill put together Rube Goldberg machine ever.
But speaking of another board game that's been around forever, and I'm pretty sure that you can still go to a store and buy, they designed Mystery Date.
So did they just go on to make Tinder?
Yeah, kind of, but kind of seems like. But this is a company with a long history. I don't think they're around anymore, though. Some their designers did go on to found other popular toy companies. But in the early days, video games were big. They decided to get into it. They brought aboard some family members to design it, and I guess they kind of were sitting in the room. They would sit in the room and toss ideas back and forth and flesh things out. So they started with the idea of like, hey, you know what's cool? Sliding a drink down the bar in a Western movie. That's a game idea. Like, okay, so they start with that. Yeah, so they start like, okay, well, that's our basic thing. Let's prototype that. Let's see what kind of gameplay we can get out of that. So okay, they got sliding down the bar, and like, that's neat, but that's not really that exciting. We need something to spice this up, add some challenge. They come up with the idea of like, oh, let's have multiple bars. And now it's a lot harder to get the drinks to all your customers, and you've got a challenge factor to keep people keep coming back. So they basically just built up the idea as they went along.
And they made a pretty memorable game out of it.
Yeah, and they, I guess it actually started with Bally Midway. They were in a position to be going out looking for licenses. and the executive went out and got a license from Anheuser-Busch to have the Budweiser license. They're like, okay, guys, we got the Budweiser license. Make us a Budweiser game. Which is, again, how they got to the idea of like, okay, well, what's a bar game?
Yeah.
I guess the idea is they wanted something that they could sell to like bars and clubs. Because, back then, bars were actually had a lot of arcade games. Like we talked about the history of video games. A lot of early games were actually sold to bars. We think about arcades as being where arcade games were. But like computer space, Nolan Bushnell was selling that to bars.
I mean, one of my favorite cabinets growing up was at a bar that was down the street from where we used to live in Pawcatuck, and it was Pac-Man and Galaga.
Yeah,
that's where I used to play Galaga all the time.
Yep.
And then, like I said, I'd be going to like Uno's in the early 2000s, and they had a few arcade cabinets in there, and they had the little like TV size one that you put on the bar, and all the games were touchscreen. That was mostly like you could play find the difference between the two picture games.
Yeah, those trivia things kind of really took over. But before that, bars would have arcade machines. And like, things like Pong were, you got barcades and stuff now, and I'm sure there's still like normal bars that have like a stand with a couple arcade games.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that this was actually like a serious market for amusement vendors at the time.
I don't see why it's still not.
I mean, just
what I want to do when I get
big in general, but
I know, but like,
yeah,
I know, but like, when I get drunk, and if I see Big Buck Hunt, let's go play some Big Buck Hunt.
I mean, yeah, you got specific kind of things that were, but they were thinking about these kinds of markets, so they wanted something that could be kind of aimed at adults. So they like, hey, Budweiser themed video game. But then they also wanted to be like, well, we want to be able to sell this in places other than bars. And oops, turns out advertising alcohol to minors is illegal. So we get a version of this game that doesn't feature alcohol.
This is almost like an inverse Chex Quest, where Chex Quest is a kid-friendly but branded version of Doom. But
I'm not sure if it's even Doom. I think it's actually Wolfenstein 3D.
Well,
so it's even more primitive than that.
And then Root Beer Tapper is a kid-friendly, but the adult version of it is branded.
Yeah.
That's amusing to me.
Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, it's something I definitely saw. Like, I want to say maybe I played like the Apple II version or something on the school computer. I don't know if I ever played in the arcade. I've played some other of Marvin Glass's games. Like they also... Well, one other, because I remember playing, I'm trying to remember, Timber. Either like a movie theater or an arcade had that, and I remember that's a game that I guess the graphics like really struck me, and it's something that I managed to remember even though I didn't play it a ton. I think that's also on this collection, so maybe we'll play that sometime, but it does have 2 players simultaneous, so I will want to do that. When we can do it in person and you can be player 2. But that's a game that just stuck in my memory from back then. So that's another one of the games they designed. It also has the character based on their coworker. They kind of reused that character. They reused that character design for like 3 of their games. The first one though I wasn't really familiar with. So, but Root Beer Tapper and Timber are definitely games I remember from the time. So it was neat to be able to get a look at it again, which is, of course, why I bought all these collections. But that's fun. Like, they're fun details, too. Like, the fact that all the customers are behind the bar, and you see your bartender / soda jerk from the front is to basically save on Sprite objects. Because, early arcade hardware, they had a limit. They can only put so many objects on screen, and not having to show the legs of the customers save them a whole lot.
My legs.
Yeah, if you're like, to create an object that large, you basically have to have the legs and the upper body as separate objects, and
so it makes sense
together.
To just
so since there are a lot more customers, also you don't have to animate all their legs. It just saved them some trouble, made it easier to get it working on the hardware. So that's neat. I mean, it's always just like fun to see. Like, actually, a lot of these early '80s games look pretty good because the arcade hardware was so much better than what they could afford to put in stuff you'd have at home.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's cool. But anyhow, if you enjoyed us getting a nice, refreshing glass of root beer, make sure you give this episode a like. If you want to catch future episodes in which maybe we partake in other sorts of beverage, make sure you subscribe to our channel. I've been Dan Mastriani. You can catch me on Twitter at NewTypeCola.
I'm Ian Butterfield. You can find me on Twitter at ENG Butterfield. You can find the show at Retro Games CNCT, Facebook.com/Retro Game Connect, and RetroGameConnect.tumblr.com. You can also find me doing live streams over on Twitch.tv/geek_lord_42. I've kind of just been doing a lot of Pokemon shiny hunting recently, so that's always fun.
I'm shocked. Well, not
right? But if you liked the game we played, let us know. If there are any games you'd like us to play, drop them in the comments. And if we can get our hands on them, we might just play them, or we might just throw a mug of root beer at them.
But most importantly, join us next time on Retro Game Connect.
Cheers! Shorter episodes, sometimes